this data. It should give us a return of this data. Else it should return and then throw. Okay, we can do throw new error and say that error is posts with that. We'll say posts. Let me do this. Backtick again. Do the backtick. We'll say post with ID. Okay, then let's do this, and then we pass the ID in. Does not exists. So that's the error message we are trying to send. Okay, so it will actually show the ID that you are. It says post with ID, and then it should show the ID does not exist. Okay, or if you don't want to display the ID to the user, then you can say that post does not exist. Okay, if it exists, it will execute this and return and not execute this part. But if it does not, then it would execute. If it does not exist, then it will throw that error. Okay, we have different ways of typing this. For instance, you can also do it like this. That's why I'm commenting that. You can say if not response.ok, if not response.ok, then throw this error. Okay, so it means it will throw the error only if the response is not okay, and then the only thing it will do is to return response.json. So when it's returning, if it gets to this part, then it means the response was okay. If it got to this part, then it means the response was okay, because you said response.ok, and then you use an exclamation sign to show that the opposite, the not. Okay, so the not will negate the okay, making it a false value. So then if it is not response.ok, throw this error, else then probably it's okay. So what do? It should return this value. So this logic can also be done this way by omitting just the else logic. Okay, so whichever way you want to do it, you can also do it. It works fine. So let me just comment this, and then once the JSON value is coming in, we can also continue and do another thing. Then we say dot then. Okay, so it means we have one then here. You can see it went to a new there to join up. Then here you said what data. So after the response is okay, then the data will come out. Now let us console log the data for now. So I'll console log the data, and then also let me console log the ID that came in. So I'll put it at the top here and say console.log then I'll do this, the ID of the selected post is, then I'll do this, then I'll pass in the ID. So the exact ID that we used here is what I'm trying to display on the screen for you to see in the console, for you to see exactly what happened. So eventually we'll get some data, and that data is what we have to fill into this part of the fields. Okay, so we'll set it to the title, we'll set it to the body, and so on, and automatically it will fill in the fields we have there. Okay, so make sure you have this, a fetch. We are putting it in the use effect hook, and then we would also make sure that it executes the use effect hook by only one operation. So if it loads that form, it should just execute this once, it should not execute it multiple times. Okay, so this is what we'll do. The use effect, open and curly brace, a parenthesis, and then you do an arrow function with your curly brace in there, a comma, then an array, empty array, and then closing tag, and then you close before the fetch comes in. When the fetch comes in, it goes to this URL endpoint with the corresponding ID. So the JSON server will pick that last ID, look through the post, and then retrieve the item with that ID for us. And then what does it do? It processes it, check if it is okay, and then it will turn a JSON file which will be cached in the data section and then be displayed. But there are also at times that all these operations may fail. If it fails, then what you do is that you can do another thing called .catch, right? And then when you catch, you can catch the error and then console log the error. Okay, so we can console log the error. So this part should always be at the last end where it actually catches any problems that are thrown within this block of code in case something goes wrong. Okay, so I've just added the catch. We even have the finally also, but then we have other use cases we also use it for, like finally. It means that whenever these operations, everything goes through and is successful or not successful, it will still come to finally and execute what you have in the finally, right? So but then there are times we use that, and then not in always every case use case that we put that in. Okay, so we have our use effect hook being implemented, and then it's retrieving the value. Even though we are not displaying the value, we want to just put it in the console log. So let's refresh this. Let me go back into post, and then when I click on the first edit, it says what? Maybe we did not do something on cut runtime. It says the use params is not a function. Okay, so let's see. It is though. So why is it saying use params? Is it use params or use param? Yeah. So use params should be, it says it's not a function. Why? Let's check it out. It should be that, but so you know, by doing this, it was able to actually give me the right import source. So use params, then you import that, then it gives you that instead of bringing it from the React library. So when I save this, this should rectify that. So you can see now the page is rendered, but let me press this, and you can see that some data popped up here. And look at this. It says the ID of the selected post is 1, and that is the exact object it went to pull. Okay, let me clear this and go back again to the post page, and then go select, let's say, this particular one. I think this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me just, and then 7. Let me do the 7th one. This is important to remember. Okay, so when I click on that, oh sorry, let me click on the edit. Sometimes I go here to do that. Click on the edit, you can see. So it says the ID number is 7. It doesn't mean it would always match the same order, like the number of counts. Okay, this is an ID coming from the database, so the order the value may be different based on the number of items it has, or the order in which it has been arranged in the post page. But then for now, our data seems to look like that is how it has been placed in that particular order in the JSON file. That's why the 7th item gives us the 7th ID, right? But then you can see it's returning the object, the title is inside, the body is inside, and so on, the reactions and so on. So it means it's all good. All we have to do is to now tag that particular. So we are able to put the ID and then feed the ID into the fetch endpoint to be able to retrieve the data for us. Now when the data, this is where the data is being retrieved at this part. So we no more need these consoles again, so we'll just use the data. So the first one is title, set title. So we say set title is equal to data.title. Data.title, and then also set body is equal to data.body, right? Set reaction, we have tags. Okay, we have tags. Set tags equals data.tags. Okay, and then set reaction is data.reaction. So the data we are retrieving is being passed this way. It's been passed this way. Sometimes you can also do it differently, but then that is, I think this is cool because of the way we are implementing these values here. So anytime we set the value from here, we are calling them and setting them with the data we are picking with the object name as title, body, tags, and then reaction. And these things are matching the fields of this part. You see, title, body, tags, reactions, right? It's pulling here. It's called reactions, but we are just calling a singular reaction here. But in the DB is a singular value, so it means that this would be data.reactions. Sorry, it's going to be data.reactions because when you log, that is how it comes. So if you make mistake and think because of the way you have named it here, it will come the same way, it won't work, because in the DB the name is showing here is what it's going to use to actually retrieve. So let me show you a practical example. You can see that everything is in now. You have the title, you have the body, and then you have the tags here, you have the reaction. Okay, the reaction, I think our reaction was a different value. Okay, I don't know what we clicked on. Yeah, so maybe the reaction is 0 because some of the reactions are 0. So maybe the 7th, I don't know whether it was the 7th item we clicked on or something. So I'm sure, but then the beauty of this whole thing is that that's the 7th record, right? Let me click on another one and see. So this gives us, okay, we can still check it here. Where's the one with ID number 7? Because some were not added, so at least we know ID number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you see reaction is 0, so it's correct, it's working. So when I go back to post and then I click on a different item like the second one, oh sorry, I click on edit, okay, you can see, and that one's reaction is 2 and so on. So now let's add some styling to this, wrap it up, and then move to the delete. So let's go to post edit form. No, we are not even done here yet. That is even the value we are bringing in. What if we edit after we edit this particular data? So the use effect is done to bring the data into the form, but then when we are done editing, so let me change this to update post. That's